The plot of Three Nations continues to thicken, so stay tuned as we discuss Reign here on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Alina and I are back, and we welcome a newcomer to the Reign After Show. Go ahead, state your name. I'm not quite sure who you are.
Newcomer? Guys, I'm back. I'm going to try to be back much more often this season because it is the final season of Reign. But my name is Keetin Marchi, and I'm so happy to be back. You guys can follow me all over the interwebs at Keetin Marchi.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to have you
I'm so glad to be back, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just
so awesome. We've got 3 people here, and you guys can follow me all over the interwebs at Alina Vission.
And follow us here at AfterBuzz TV, and I'm representing the lovely shirt that was given to us back in, I think, season 2.
I think it was season 2. I still have mine too. I'll have to wear mine.
And there you go. And I have the book that has been given to us for Castle Corner, so we'll have that. And we have a special surprise segment today, which I won't reveal quite yet, but Keetin is gonna kick it off later. So stay tuned.
This is a surprise segment now. News to me. But,
well, you know, it might not be reoccurring, but we'll certainly talk about it today. And then if it develops in interesting ways, then we'll talk about it more.
It's fun.
But without further ado, let's start with today's episode: A Grain of Deception. Grain always just being the thing that just people need.
Hey, they're hungry.
They are.
They are. Yeah.
So as the title implies, let's start with Mary's side. You know, sometimes we like to pick different countries to start with, but why not start with Mary? And Keetin, since you've been gone for a little bit, kick us off.
I really have liked Mary thus far in this season. I think she's really taking control. And I'm liking how she's kind of, especially with her relationship with her brother, she's really taking the reins with it. And she's like, no, I am the queen here. Listen to me. And like she has nobody she can trust. And so we see in this episode 2 her being like, Greer, I need you, so come to me. She's not just talking about things or complaining about things. She's trying to act, and she's making action happen. And even if her brother says no or somebody tells her no, she's like, well, this is what I want. I'm the queen. I'm going to do it anyway. Right. So I really like seeing Mary this season so far. This episode I thought was a great episode for her. And I'm seeing a lot more similarities between her and Elizabeth. The more we get to see of Elizabeth, and the more Mary kind of settles into her role as Queen of Scotland.
How would you summarize those?
You mean, just they are... How would I summarize that? Neither of them are willing to... They're both very stubborn. Okay. And at the same time, though, as much as they hate each other, I think they both respect each other in a way. And that kind of idea of, like, being a woman in power when nobody thinks you should be in power, like... They don't care what everybody else says. They're just like, no, this is my right. I am queen, like, and nobody's gonna take that from me, and this is my game, and this is my country, and and I love, and we're not talking about Elizabeth right now, but I love what's his name who used to sleep with Mary. Gideon. I love him because he's all about just. I wish that he could get that through Elizabeth and Mary's head of peace. Right. It's all about peace. It's like, let's not let people die here. It's not about control, it's not about power, but of course for Mary and Elizabeth, because they are women in places of power where majority of people don't want them in those power, they have to kind of think a little bit more, like, I guess, like, they're a little bit more negative about it. Like, to them it's life or death. To Gideon, he's just like, no, let's all get along. But yeah, Mary's a rock star so far. In this episode, you really saw her taking action. So there we go.
Then Alina.
I'm so there with you. I love how Mary just tells her brother how it is and really puts him in his place and is like, you need to either be on my side, because we're all that we have. Like, we don't have any family left over. I don't have anyone here who I can trust. You know, blood is thicker than water, so hop on over to my side. And yeah, I see the dynamic between her and Elizabeth, or the similarities, should I say, and they are very similar. And I think it's partially because they are women in power, like you were saying. And not many people know what that feels like or how that is. There's only, you know, a certain number in the world at that point who would know what that feels like to have people coming at you all the time.
All the time.
All the time, trying to assassinate you, trying to get your power. They don't want you in power. So I think that level of respect. Plus, I mean, they're cousins too. So yeah.
Well, here's what I appreciate most. Obviously, Greer helps her, but Greer also pushes her, and she's the one, you know, you guys have all sort of said it, and a lot of online publications are talking about the moment where Mary drops the queen thing and says, you know, brother and sister, we need to be on each other's side. Mm-hmm. But what no one said is that she's gotten that from Greer. The fact that Greer chose family over Mary and said, hey, I have to be with Castleroy, I have to go do this. You know, that was a bold statement, and I think Mary took that to heart, and she's applying it for both effects. And you know, meaning she's not disingenuous, but she really wants to have a relationship with James because of what Greer said.
Yeah. Well, I think that I didn't even think about that, how it does
did
relate back to Greer's advice. Mm-hmm. And Greer also giving advice to James at the same point. It was just like a quick little scene. Right. But her saying, you know, if you, like, Mary will fight for you and she will never let you down, like, if she trusts you. And I hope, this is the thing, I still don't trust James. I think he's, because this is the other thing. James is probably James's entire life has had people whispering and things in the back of his head that he deserves that throne because he is a man. Mm-hmm. And so it just, as much as I want to think that he's there for Mary, I think he's kind of been power hungry his entire life, and those are kind of tough habits to break. So family or not, like, I think family almost makes him a little scarier because he can
get so close.
He can has somewhat of a claim to the throne. Mm-hmm. So I don't know about James.
Well, I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I think he's gonna fall in love with Ems right off the bat.
With who?
Emily.
Yeah.
Emily Knox.
Yeah.
I call her Ems.
I was like, wait, yeah.
We're on a nickname basis already.
Oh, you and Ems.
He did kind of have a twinkle in his eye, like when he was talking to her, even though he didn't want, you know, to be a part of that whole mix. He did. You could tell.
That's because he's scared of what's his face. He's scared of John Knox. Mm-hmm. Like, and who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
Like, this guy was not only had an attempt on Elizabeth, like Mary as well as Elizabeth's lives, but he also then had the audacity to then go to Elizabeth's court and whatever, you know, and of course she's gonna know, dude. And then even after they went back and caught him, he still kind of spit in her face. Like, you got nothing on me. I was so surprised. Like, and like, oh, he irks me.
And she didn't do anything about it. I was like, do something.
I know, but that's
she couldn't. It's like, oh, it's so frustrating.
Well, we'll definitely talk about 50 Shades Darker in a minute. But that's my joke because there's 50 people.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
But
a lot of new people. That's what's hard. Sorry.
You know, you'll get them eventually.
Yeah.
But sticking to Mary, you know, she goes through that whole plan and she manages to save Canopy. You know, and I like the fact that she's torn. She's like, I got the victory, but you know, the fact that there is a spy among me is hurtful. You know, and as she realizes she's gonna have to deal with this every single time for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she kind of has to. I feel like one of the reasons French court kind of dysfunctionally worked was because there was fear of Catherine.
Right.
And I hate to say that. I hate to say ruling by fear, but as a woman, like it's so hard, I feel like, in that time of day to assert your authority and have people actually listen and respect you. So fear is a very good way for people to be like, ooh, I don't want to cross this person.
Right.
The mob does it. Like, that's kind of how a lot of people work. And so I think Mary's realizing, okay, like, I gotta be sneaky. Like, she's literally a little mini Catherine.
She is.
She's a mini Catherine
Completely.
at this point.
We were talking about that last episode because when she had her brother execute that one guy who in the village that went against them, I mean, that was kind of a Catherine thing to do, like to show everyone, don't mess with me because it will get bloody. Yeah, she is totally a mini Catherine in that aspect.
I love it.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, speaking of other similarities between her and Elizabeth, you know, the fact that as Elizabeth finds out, you know, she is very much alone. You know,
Yeah,
so both
right.
are sort of in a very similar position. Like you would think, like Elizabeth had a lot more at play, but she doesn't. You know, they both have very little to work with and got to figure out how they're gonna
Well, and
hold on.
It's kind of crazy how alone Elizabeth still is too, because you know she's been in England basically her whole life. Obviously, she's had to fight to be legitimized and all of that stuff. But
Right.
it's like, okay, Elizabeth, at this point, like, you know, shouldn't you kind of be winning a little bit? Like, Mary has literally been floundering between two countries. Like,
Right.
she has barely any support at this point. Like, and you're still struggling, honey? Like, at this point, maybe you should just be like, yeah, peace be with you, Mary, and
Right.
let's end this.
Let's just keep it peaceful. That's so true.
Right?
Because she has home court advantage. Mary
Yeah.
hasn't been there for forever. She knows the land and the terrain and kind of the politics of everything, and yet she's still...
You guys are like mini John Knoxes. Yeah, go ahead, fight it out. See,
No,
but where's the womanhood?
No,
we don't want
I want
yeah.
peace. I would much
Exactly.
rather them like go meet at the border and whatever, and
Exactly.
be like, let's you know, hey,
Join forces or something.
Yeah, or I don't know what. I mean, the thing is, they're just both being so stubborn, and I
Right.
think the religion, like the
That's what it
religion
is.
aspect, is huge too, because like they're not only fighting for a country, but they're fighting for
Religion.
a certain religion to be the main religion of their their country,
Right.
and it's just it's politics. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, let's shift gears and let's talk about John Knox, who basically calls Eve, the first original woman, pretty much a whore. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then every other woman ever since.
The way he spoke to Elizabeth, like my blood was boiling. Like I get this is like this is a TV show, but like I just feel like there's so much unrest when it comes to equality in modern day. Like right now, when it comes to men and women, to see a guy just talk to a woman in power like that and just give none and have no respect for her.
Right.
And like when she literally has every right to have him killed, but just can't for political reasons because she doesn't want to have the Catholics turn on her. Like and then he was just so disrespectful, and I was like, yo, dude.
He's the worst. He's the absolute worst. I'm right there with you. My blood was boiling. Anytime a man says a woman's not, qualified enough to be in a place like that, and he'd rather have a man there. No. It's crazy. I was just surprised she didn't do anything just from the feeling I was getting from her, but then I was like, because of politics, she can't do anything.
I'm so sorry.
There is no party.
There was no
When
party
John
there.
Knox is here.
Exactly.
But to that point, speaking about Mary and Catherine, Elizabeth has never had sort of a female be able to teach her and pass her on those various things. She's only been, in a way, taught by men, and so she's never gotten that, and while, Gideon sort of sympathizes with her and he's a very loyal ally to Elizabeth, he will never have that. I mean, he can have sympathy, but he can't empathize 100% of what it is to be, a female in that position.
Yeah.
Unlike Catherine, who can, and then she taught that to Mary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And
Very true.
can we talk about Catherine? Can we talk about her a little bit?
you
'Cause-
guys love to just jump around. We haven't even talked about the 50 men. We haven't talked about Narcisse.
Okay,
That's
sorry,
right,
sorry.
Narcisse. Yeah. There's a lot going on in English court.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it from Elizabeth's perspective. Like, what would you have done? There's 50 people, and so Gideon's trying to help the whole situation. I'm like, okay, they got to be put in the tower and so forth. But I understand Elizabeth's take of, okay, well, then they're just going to be paraded around and that's it. But in this way,
martyrized or just
Exactly.
I don't know what the other word I'm looking for right now, but
I don't think we've ever seen
Victimized.
50 people in a council meeting, let alone that might as well be
lot
the
of
entire
people.
country, right?
Rainland, yes.
So I mean that is a lot of people who hate Catherine in somewhat of a position of power.
yeah, I don't know. Well, not Catherine. It's Elizabeth.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Elizabeth,
sorry,
that's
Wait
it.
a second.
Wait,
I was
no,
like,
no.
let me think about this.
Again, poor Elizabeth is coming off of her father I mean, he was the one who obviously like separated from the Catholic Church,
Right.
which is a huge deal in English history. And then it was when her mother, or not her mother, her stepmother was in power, Mary. Queen Mary, she was super Catholic and like persecuted a ton of the Protestants, and then all of a sudden Elizabeth has become queen. So not only is she kind of trying to clean up stuff that her dad did, but then stuff that her like stepmom did, and she's a Protestant, but she's like taking over a country that Queen Mary had made Catholic, or had tried to force back to Catholicism.
Right.
So it's this, she's got so much to deal with right now. And of course, like, because she is so young, there's going to be like multiple generations who are still alive who very much remember before, when the country was Catholic, before her father even separated from the church. So of course, like 50 people, I'm surprised it's not more than that, honestly.
Well, those were just the ones that were conspiring. There are definitely probably more out there. And that's even what John Knox was saying, is like, you can kill those 50, but that 50 will turn into 100, which will then turn into 1,000. Like, once word gets out, it's just going to kind of spread.
Yeah, so she's got that to contend with, and it doesn't help. I mean, Narcisse could have been the greatest thing for Elizabeth to have on her side if she played it right. But the fact that she, the one thing that he wanted was revenge against John Knox.
Right.
And the fact that he wasn't able to do that, ooh boy, now he's taking over.
I love Narcisse, and I love that we got to see some kind of a back and forth between Narcisse and Elizabeth, because Narcisse always has the upper hand. So when Narcisse doesn't have the upper hand and has no control over it, I love to watch him squirm. But
if you're referring to Bocce, I think he gives a crap about Bocce.
No, I'm talking about everything, because even like for him not to kill John Knox, I mean, that was huge for him, and like huge. Like, God, this poor guy like wants to avenge Lola so bad, and whether that means killing John Knox or killing Elizabeth, but he really can't do either at this point. And I think we've seen Narcisse grow a lot as a character, because he's not so impulsive. He realizes he's finally not thinking about himself first. He's thinking about John, Lola's kid, and like this is like a whole new Narcisse, even from like last season. I feel like
Absolutely.
Lola's not there anymore, so he's like, okay, I have to protect John for Lola.
Right, exactly.
It sucks that it took her death for him to kind of
figure it out,
but I don't know. I want him to get back to French court. I want to see him start working with Catherine again. I want to see him start wheeling and dealing and scheming. And
I think he's going to come back to French court and not miss a beat. They're like, do you need some rest? No. Where do we... Meeting, 10 a.m., go.
How do I get to Scotland?
I don't know. There was a little bit of, I felt, vintage Narcisse in the fact that he was conniving to get John Knox, caught. And that's kind of how he was back in the day. He was very conniving, but this time it was for a different purpose. Now he had more of a selfless purpose.
Yeah.
A little bit, except for the revenge part. A little bit, except for the revenge part. But I like seeing his character, like you said, squirm. And when he's not in the position of power, because he has no power at English court, and he's pretty much what Elizabeth's, I don't know, what's the word for it? Prisoner?
Oh, I was gonna say bitch.
That too.
No, he's her prisoner.
Her prisoner, exactly. And now he's probably just going to be going back to French court. Do you guys actually think he's going to be going back to French court?
Oh, he's going. He's got the paperwork.
Right.
But he made that last move with Darnley. Well, not Darnley, but Lady Lennox. And he's going to screw all of this up for Darnley.
I hope he does.
They did. The shipment never came. Therefore, there might be other ways for Elizabeth to try to make this happen. But, first one, not good.
No.
Yeah. No. It's gonna be. He's gonna. Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
It is.
But yeah, now he's on his way to France. He's got John safe, and excited to see him and Catherine get reunited next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So, why don't we go all the way across the border into France
Yes.
Your favorite lady.
Yes.
Lady Catherine.
Catherine de Medici. I haven't been here at all this season, so I haven't been able to talk about the older sister. Tanisha Ingraham is in the chat right now, and she was saying how the older sister is such a bitch. And this girl, like, she makes Catherine squirm. And I don't think we've seen somebody, because obviously Catherine loves her family more than anything. She'd never do anything to hurt her children. So it's so funny now that her daughter who was in she's married to the
King of Spain.
King of Spain. Technically the Queen of Spain is coming in and just kind of being like, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, and you're doing this wrong, and I'm not gonna do this because I have control and you need money, mommy. Like, it's so cool. Like, I love it, I love it, I love it. I wish Claude wasn't such... I don't know. Do you guys think Latha's really dead?
See, we were talking about that last week. I don't think he's really dead.
Episode 4, he's back.
I don't think he's dead
No,
either.
I don't think so. I just don't see that character leaving in that fashion, you know? And especially with their relationship, I don't think so. I think he's going to come back. I'm hoping. Fingers
Hashtag
crossed.
hope.
Exactly.
Hashtag
hope I'm right.
hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love this girl. I think I love I feel like because this new character has come in, who we heard in like her first episode that she's very pious and stuff, I feel like the wardrobe has changed a little bit within French court, and it's a lot more conservative and a lot more, I wouldn't say historically accurate, but just a lot less playful as when like Mary was there and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see like Catherine and Claude and this other woman in like these very intricate, like almost feel like heavy historically accurate costumes, and they're beautiful as always because Reign does costumes good.
Yes, so good. so good. Yeah, but I definitely agree with the comment in the chat room about Lisa. She's something else. I kind of feel like she's Catherine on steroids a little bit. I mean, we haven't seen her, try to poison anyone in that fashion, but she has that kind of attitude. I just feel like this whole family is so dramatic and so extra, whether it's Claude or Lisa or Catherine. I love French court.
And Kate Johnson just said in the chat as well that the representation of the older daughter is pretty historically accurate. Apparently, I'm gonna look her up real quick. Phil, tell us about
My experience with Catherine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this a lot. I really want to see Catherine. She's not the mother of the year, but she is. She's always had that motherly bond, and in the sense to keep them together. Granted, by any means necessary, but so she wants what's best for Claude, and the fact that she could sort of in a way get what's best for the family in a sense, but it's not good for France, and so she recognizes that, and that seems. I like that being a constant theme throughout. Even like Gideon is another representative of that. He's all about Mary until it comes to his country.
Right.
And so the fact that Catherine wants Narcisse back, and she sees that as the way to go, I'm all for.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting if he does come, because from Narcisse's standpoint, he's wondering, wait, why haven't they negotiated my trade, if you will?
Yeah, no kidding.
So I'm sure he might be a little bit upset, and then they'll maybe work it out or go back to remember that early relationship with Catherine and Narcisse.
Narcisse, yeah.
It was something, for lack of a better term.
Elizabeth. So her name's Elizabeth. So I think they call her Lizzie on the show.
Lisa.
Okay, her name was Elizabeth. Yeah. Her sister-in-law, she shared a bedroom with her future sister-in-law, Mary, Queen of Scots, who was about 3 years older than Elizabeth. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They're playing Elizabeth older than Mary at this point.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. So she married the Philip II of Spain, which is also originally married via a proxy at Notre Dame prior to leaving France. The actual ceremony took place in Guadalajara, Spain, upon her arrival. The marriage was a result of the peace treaty. Yeah, that's kind of funny. His second wife, Mary I of England, had recently died, making Elizabeth Philip's third wife. at the wedding. Oh, okay. Oh, Philip was completely enchanted by his 14-year-old bride, and within a short time had given up his mistress. So she was 14 years old. Oh,
Different times.
my gosh.
Wow.
Different times.
not
Listen,
imagine
John Knox
being
was a
married
cradle
at-
robber too. Did you see Emily?
Oh my God! And Elizabeth had originally been betrothed to Philip's son, Carlos, but political complications and unexpected necessity of a marriage to Philip, her relationship with her troubled stepson Carlos was warm and friendly despite the reports of his bizarre behavior. And Carlos is the one who had the sex chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's wow.
Talk about 50 Shades
I
of
know,
Grey.
exactly. There you go.
Another
Philip,
theme.
yeah. Wow. Oh, she even had smallpox. Elizabeth did. Okay.
We're learning so much.
We're learning a lot.
Thank God for what is that? Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
I love Wikipedia.
Sourcing Wikipedia. All right. Let's talk about in terms of what's his name? Shoot, the son, the king, King Charles. King Charles.
Yeah.
What is going on with him? Is he addicted to gambling? That's my prediction. He's just gambling
his
off.
hands were like all bloody.
No,
and-
my friend was watching Reign with me as I was watching it, and she was just like, I think this is syphilis. And I was like, but,
Syphilis.
so I looked it up. I looked up how he died, and even though he did die young,
He did, yeah.
he died at 23, I think. I don't think it was because of syphilis.
No. I tried looking it up too afterwards, but then I had to, get ready and come on over.
But he's definitely maybe because you remember what Henry struggled with, but
Right.
Henry did have syphilis or something, or
Something like
some
that.
type of thing that was messing with him, and so maybe he has the same thing. But in it, I'm trying to figure out the reign of Charles.
All I could find was gout, but I don't think that was the right Charles.
Peace
could
would
have
have
been.
been.
But with King Henry, he didn't try. He still had. He still wanted full control, and he was still acting in a sense of power, regardless
Right.
of how much internal power he did or did not have.
Right.
Whereas Charles, he's just avoiding all duty whatsoever.
Which I'm like, why doesn't he tell somebody whatever's going on with him?
Well, because he feels the weight that everything's on him, and by
Right.
doing that, then all things go to hell. There's no regent. It's let's just say it's similar to how we don't have positions in the White House. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
until that's the
Right.
best way I can summarize it. Like
So
there's
they say his physical condition tending towards tuberculosis deteriorated to the point he was coughing so much it was bloody and he hemorrhaged and stuff like that. But he also, after he took place in this massacre, he really struggled with his emotional state because he felt a lot of guilt about everybody that was killed because of him. So yeah, he was in a very fragile mental state. And then the tuberculosis, which was never really truly diagnosed, or it's not proven, but that's what they think that he...
Interesting. So what do we think the bloody hands were? Because they were
Well,
bloody
and then he also
or-
had the cut
Right,
here.
exactly.
Maybe he's getting beat up. Maybe.
I think it's a gambling debt. That's I don't know. I'm just throwing out a dumb guess.
Oh, that's and then he got his hand. But I can't imagine them doing that to
the
a king of
king,
France.
yeah.
Well, remember that was remember when him and Narcisse went that was even too much for Narcisse. He was like, "What the hell are we doing?" And then Charles won all the money back.
Oh, I didn't.
And
yeah,
they didn't
that's
care
right.
that he was the king. Like
Right.
there, you bring your money and you're in, regardless of
Like
your
your
money
status.
is your status, not who you are.
Oh, I think that's a good.
That's
I
a good-
completely
yeah.
forgot about that little thing. The little trip him
Right.
and Narcisse went on.
I don't know. It's one of those theories
It
that
could be. It could be.
It was kind of crazy seeing him because it seems like he had a growth spurt.
Yeah, right?
So between this season and last season, I was like, "Wow, you're an
really
adult now.
tall."
Look how tall you are." I love it.
There you go. Anything else about the episode that we want to touch upon before we head into our many special segments?
Oh God.
I think we covered
I think we
everything.
did.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, at home, let us know your thoughts and opinions. We always appreciate them. You always do. It's always fun when you guys do. And in fact, we got a lot of history lessons last episode that I think you were and I was commenting when I was reading them, but it was fun. So continue that. You know. All right. Why don't we start with Keetin? You have been learning to sword fight and of do other, I don't know, what would you call it? Combat training, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always really liked history. That's one of the reasons I love this show. And I found a place in Los Angeles that does certification classes for different types of weapons when it comes to fighting on film and stage, mainly film. And so I've been certified in short sword, which the best way I can explain that is if you've ever seen like Gladiator, kind of, it's a smaller short, it's basically self-explanatory. But basically you think of Gladiator, that's kind of like the movie that I feel like people would recognize the most. And right now I'm working on broadsword, which is super fun. And yeah, broadsword is also kind of one of the closer weapons they take the choreography for like lightsabers and Star Wars duels from. So it's fun because I'm fighting with a fancy lightsaber right now when I go to class and when I'm doing rehearsal. And yeah, I also started taking archery classes, which has been really fun. And
do we get to see some video eventually of this?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Okay, if I go with Gil next week, I'll see if we can.
And who the hell's Gil for the people?
Okay, so Gil Darnell, shout out, hey man. We might be going. We tried to do it this past week, but then we both were super busy, so we're gonna try to do it this week and go do archery together. But he used to be on Reign. He played Mary's uncle, right? I believe. And he came in on the show one time in the AFTERBUZZ studios. So awesome dude. But he reached out to me because we keep touch over Instagram, and he was like, I want to go do archery when I posted some pictures. And I was like, yeah, come with me. It's super fun. And so I'm looking forward to that. So we'll try to do some pictures or some videos that I can bring in next time. Yeah,
definitely,
absolutely.
So cool.
So there you
but
go.
yeah, check out Swordplay LA if you guys are in the Los Angeles area. They do private classes, and they're awesome, and it's a lot of fun. So.
Excellent. Well, today's Castle Corner, we have Pembroke Castle. And Neil, if you want to just find some classical music online as the bed, as we discuss Pembroke Castle, it comes from Wales. Here's a quick little picture, and we have a couple pictures as well that we'll put up. We'll post it on Instagram as well. This is actually the original note.
Oh, that we got with the book.
Yeah, so Samantha, who provided the book for us, the note just fell out, but I will put it safely back in the book. As Keetin, go ahead and tells us more about...
I come back and...
No, you can just read my email.
What?
Or you could read the book. Well, either way, I sent the shortened version via email to read, but...
Oh, I could do that. Sorry, I did. Oh, this music.
Well, I'll kick it off. It was built in 1090, so quite a bit ago.
Okay, here we go.
Go ahead.
Okay. Pembroke Castle, it's in Wales, is a medieval castle in Pembroke, West Wales, standing beside the Pembroke River. It underwent major restoration work in the early 20th century. The castle was the original seat of the Earldom of Pembroke. In 1093, Arnulf of Montgomery built the first castle at the site when he fortified the promontory, I don't know, during the Norman invasion of Wales. A century later, this castle was given to William Marshal by Richard I. Marshal, who would become one of the most powerful men of the 20th century Britain, rebuilt Pembroke in stone, creating most of the structure that remains today. Now, can we... Oh, it's big. Look at how big it is.
It is big. And Neil, we sent some photos if you want to bring those up, unless you already have them up for the people. But if you're listening, I'll post them on Instagram. But it's... here's the thing. It's a great-looking castle for me, but it's sort of a generic castle. I have to look up 3 times, did we cover this castle already? Because it looks very similar. What I like about it is that it's sort of evolved, and it's got a nice courtyard, and it's typical of castles. It has the perimeter, and then sort of the towers in the middle. So it's a great little castle.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a lake or river around it. It's a river, actually, the Pembroke River, but it almost is like a makeshift moat.
Yes, yes, indeed.
It's getting dramatic.
So yeah, so that's how they, most of these castles started off as fortresses, and so that's why moats, as cliche as they may be, work excellent.
Moats are great. We all love moats.
Yeah.
So check out Pembroke Castle next time you are in Wales.
Woo!
All right. Couple quick things in terms of the news and gossip section. Celeb Mix did sort of a poll, I guess you can call it, and they asked fans what they love about Reign. And I wanted to share a couple of these because these are quite interesting. You guys share your opinions obviously every week, but the fact that there's various ones from various countries: England, Macedonia, France, Scotland. So let me share a couple of the interesting ones from Laurie from England. She's 17. She writes, "I love Reign because it is so exciting. You always want to find out what's going to happen next. I especially love Catherine's lines. They make me laugh so much, and they are very well thought out." Mila, 21, from Macedonia. "I love the show mainly because of Dan, Jeanette, Rachel, Starskin, and Megan Follows. Also, the scenery, castles, and beautiful royal outfits are just a huge bonus." And Annie from France writes, "I love Reign because thanks to this show, I have discovered a wonderful and talented cast. People who are inspiring me every day. It's such a great show with amazing characters, scenes, costumes, songs, etc." So there you have it. Also, if you guys want, there's a great article on Entertainment Weekly with Adelaide Kane, who plays Mary. One of the things that she, in particular, that's kind of interesting was, she's talking about this being the final season and how it came to a last-minute decision. They already had 2 scripts written for the finale. One was a series finale, one was a season finale, but then they went with, obviously, the series finale.
This is the thing I wanted to say at the beginning, but I was like, oh, I'll wait. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is what, season 4? Season 4. I feel like with the first 3 seasons, they really, really took their time with the timelines of everything. And now I feel like they're going to rush through, the last, 20 years of Mary's life, and, her kind of whole feud with Elizabeth. So it should be interesting to see the pacing of this season because
a lot still happens when she's in England. So
a ton. Mary has supposedly 2 more marriages and she's going to have children. So I'm just curious.
I don't think we get the full story. I think we just we pick a certain portion of Mary's life, just like we never saw her at French court when she was 5 years old, 6 years old. You know what I mean? We just sort of get this chunk of time and that's it.
But
then where does it end?
Yeah, I feel like the end is when they one of them dies.
Right.
According to history, Elizabeth wins. Elizabeth beheads Mary after she spends some time in the tower, and so
that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Exactly.
Not to say I want to see that, but it's just.
You already saw one person get beheaded.
But
that's huge in history. Huge.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they do this.
How they pace it out. Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. Speaking of which, let's get into predictions for the next episode.
Oh.
Now,
I thought it was the table started glowing from underneath.
This is new.
I've not been in this studio for a while.
Alrighty. So next episode, it's sort of all about from the preview about Darnley. Seems like that's the preview that I got. What did you guys get?
I didn't see
a preview, but I could imagine that it's probably all about.
Yeah, because now they have to figure out. We got that scene with Narcisse and his mom, one of the last scenes we had of the episode. Right. So that is a huge catalyst, I think, for the next couple episodes.
What happens to Charles?
I don't.
Oh.
That literally looked like he was about to die. He was going to sign this and then
I don't know.
It seemed like he had some sort of illness, but now that you brought up the gambling debts, maybe. I think that's kind of a cool prediction. It could be that.
Secretly in his quiet way, he's like, okay, France needs money, so let me just keep gambling to get some money.
Well, just so you guys know, Mary's second husband is Lord Darnley,
right,
Henry Stuart. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. They're only married for 2 years, though.
We are working on getting Will Kemp, who does play Darnley, to come in. So fingers crossed that everything works out.
Yes.
That would be great.
So we'll work on that.
I'm so sorry.
That's all, and it's going to be interesting to see what Elizabeth does.
Yeah. Well, and it's also interesting, dude, you actually married this guy and you still weren't able to get enough people to follow you. I don't know. I'm just like
it's crazy.
It's insane
crazy.
what the real life conflict that happened between these two women. It's really cool. I wish, I almost wish that it was more historically accurate, because I feel like history was probably just as maybe not as dramatic, but just as crazy with the twists and turns. And then we could actually really kind of see what
exactly
is
it was
happening.
like.
Yeah, what exactly it was like. But
Yeah.
it's fine. I won't be too bad about it.
Why don't you write out your own script?
Well, I want a feature film about a biopic, Mary Queen of Scots. Come on.
Well, you could.
There you go.
Hey, Adelaide.
The world's waiting for you.
Adelaide is she's available. So.
Exactly.
Alrighty, well, if that's it, thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts and opinions on the next episode or episodes moving forward. I predict episode 4, Lathe comes back. That's my big prediction. In the meantime, at Alina Vision.
Yep.
Is it still? What do we still got? At Keetin 33 or?
No, at Keetin Marchi. It's been at Keetin Marchi for forever.
Yeah, well, forever. I haven't seen you in forever. So at Keetin Marchi.
Yes.
There you go. At AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time on another episode of Reign.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.